Hello everybody, and welcome back to Burrows. We finally escaped the hotel, all that is done and over with, and we've met up at this shop, this mechanic shop. Ken is having, we're still in it, we're having a cute scene with one of Ken's old friends, He signals for Ken to back up as he stumbles to his feet, his crutch suddenly feeling flimsy in his wobbling arms.
You'll always be my best friend. Whatever happens,
He closes his eyes and sighs.
You're my favorite person.
Ken leans in and kisses Johnny on the cheek, lapping away his tears the same way he did for me in the Golden Place.
I love you too, Johnny. And I promise, I'm coming back.
Ken grabs the gun and rushes past us towards the door. Oh.
This is your first lie.
Then that's your first lie, okay.
Promising me the impossible.
Me and Jean stand there, trying to process everything. Johnny collects himself and clears his throat to get our attention.
You do realize what you're getting yourselves into. Ken doesn't trust people so easily.
He's put his faith in us for some reason.
That's not what I mean. You're about to see him at his worst, and he expects you to stand by his side.
Then we will. Simple as that.
I envy you two. Really. Ken knows I'll just be holding him back. And that's why you two are.
No, that's not it, Johnny. You're the one he cares the most about. He simply doesn't want to put you in harm's way. But not involving you these last few years, he's been protecting your reputation.
Maybe. Either way, you have some awfully big shoes to fill.
He chuckles and taps his fake leg.
Well, shoo. Keep him safe, Fox.
We nod and give him a scout salute. He returns it and we bid our farewells. Ken waits outside, crouched by the front door and wiping tears away as we approach.
Hey. I hope you two didn't lose faith in me just now. I swear, this was never a...
I grip his shoulder and offer a smile. I wouldn't call a murderer a friend. You wouldn't lead us down that path. He smiles weakly, taking a deep breath before hopping to his feet.
All right then, the roads awaits us. Get on before I change my mind and leave you behind. Aw, shit! I almost forgot.
Huh? I gasp as he whips out the note Johnny gave me the day before. I'd almost forgotten about it.
Finally time to read this.
He flips it open and scans over it. What's it say?
Let's go.
Lad?
Now.
Aw. We drive past the city limits. Deep down, I fear the road will loop again like the last time. But Ken seems to know exactly which way to go to avoid triggering it. That's what that says. He tells us the doc lives decently far from the township proper, his home office being still a few miles out. I figure now is as good a time as any to ask about the crime he's been accused of. Hey,
Yeah?
What happened to put you in this situation to begin with? It's hard to hear him over the wind whipping past us, but I feel a sigh resonate in his chest. He clutches his locket as he waits at the traffic light.
Guess it's only fair. You're sticking your neck out for me, so you should know why. It's just hard. Talking about that night, I mean.
I get it, but... He stays quiet for a while, long enough that the lights turn green again, yet we stay put. Thankfully, we're the only ones on the road right now.
I'll tell you this much.
I brace myself. Finally, some answers.
3 years back, I had myself a girl. I know, right? Me! Had the same grumpy face back then as I do now, but she liked me all the same. Scared the shit out of me that a cute, preppy chick like her would pick me. Thought it was a senior prank, or that someone put her to it, just to get a rise out of me. I'd been a loner all 4 years of high school. Why bother trying now? But, as soon as I made her laugh, it was over. I let down all my walls when I was around her. I could finally relax, think things through rationally. Like how I feel when I'm proud of you. After the third date, I finally calmed down a bit. She felt so fragile in my arms. I worried she'd shatter like glass, like I squeezed too tight. I had to learn how to be gentle. She tamed me, made me want to be good for the first time, but... her dad hated my guts. Nothing surprising, I was a punk back then too. You already met him, Officer Frank.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry for keeping that from you for so long. Had it out for me from the very beginning. Whether it was because of my attitude or my fur, honestly. I don't know. I don't think he needed a reason. I was an easy target. In every smack with an authority complex. Oh, schmuck. That's what that says, not smack. Schmuck. I need someone to make an example out of. So, it's only natural that after that night...
He chokes on his words and revs the bike a few times, only to stop after moving a few feet forward.
It was the night of the spring formal. Neither of us wanted to go. Wanted to deal with the judgment of our peers. She said she knew a place not far from town where we could be alone. My heart was racing at the thought of finally... you know.
Look at him in his, high school jacket thingy. Those, sport jacket things.
Girls were always so scary up until then. You never knew what they were really thinking. Some part of me still thought this was all leading up to some giant prank. That all her friends would pop out of the woodwork with a camera and catch me looking like a lovesick fool. It would prove those nagging voices in my head right. But this never happened. We just sat and talked in that old barn all night. It was like something out of a movie. I could hardly believe it. That didn't help, you know. How practiced her words felt. How scripted and cliched the whole thing was. Everyone inside me was screaming to run, to escape this obvious trap. Everyone. And then she gave me this look, wanting to see what I'd do. Most guys would jump at the chance, but me, I just froze. I guess that wasn't good enough, so she decided to make the first move. Before I knew it, she was kissing me. I wanted to enjoy it, but my mind wouldn't stop racing. Was I doing it right? Was I supposed to push back with full force? Less. Would she cry rape if I touched her? God, saying it all back. He really did fuck me up, huh? Anyways, I did my best to keep up with her, but then it appeared right behind her.
It? A shudder runs up his body, his tail painfully crooked. Aww.
I don't know what to call it, but it was like The world of paper, and a person-shaped hole was cut out of it.
Of paper? Did I read that right? Yeah, the world of paper, and a person was cut out of it. Okay, okay.
And the shadows in the room were a part of its body. It was everywhere, surrounding us, threatening to close in and swallow us whole. Something in me knew that it was so much, if it so much as touched me, it'd all be over. And then I noticed it was connected to her shadow, so I panicked and...
He cuts himself off with a whimper. Look at that face.
I pushed her off of me and backed away as far as I could. I hit my head at a wall and I felt trapped. I couldn't even form words. I could tell that I was scaring her. God, I wish I could have calmed down and just explained myself, but instead She tried to get close to me, bringing that thing with her. I was so focused on it that I didn't even notice I kicked over the lantern until I started smelling smoke. And it all went up in flames so fast. It wasn't my fault, okay? It was just a horrible accident. Her screams. I couldn't do anything. It was already too late. She reached for me, but God, the skin on her hands was already gone. I couldn't die.
Oh. Well, girl, go down.
Ken? Shut the hell up. I know, okay? I fucked up. I fucked up. Don't fucking judge me. You weren't there. It was all so fast. And... Shush. It was so hot. I had to get out. I just... Anyone would have done the same. You can't...
I'm just here to listen. I can't say what I would have done.
Liar. God, I deserve all of this.
It was an accident.
I should have tried harder.
You were just a kid. He finally breaks and starts bawling, head turned into his chest. I tap Jean on the shoulder, who mouths, "What do you want me to do?" back at me. Lad, that's a grim tale indeed, but I agree with Gray here that, given the circumstances, there wasn't much you could do. I'm not sure I would have done much different in your shoes, especially at that age.
It doesn't matter. I could have saved...
Ken, please, stop pushing yourself for this. Oh, punishing, not pushing. Punishing yourself for this. Even if you could have, it's over.
Not for me, it isn't.
He sits upright, wiping snot from his muzzle and flicking it onto the pavement.
I relived that night. Every second of every day. Over and over again. This is a hell of my own making. Every step is toward my inevitable execution.
Then, we'll just have to keep you on the right path. Right, Gray? I nod, doing my best to keep strong for his sake. We're here because we believe in you. If Doc is somehow connected to this happening to you, We'll get the answers together. The only way this will work is if we stay honest with each other, okay? If you see something we don't, tell us.
Okay, I'll try. I'm just so used to keeping that shit to myself. The kind of thing's been drilled into me.
Nobody is beyond saving. Somewhere, somebody knows how to help you live a normal life, and we'll find it together. Jean clears his throat and pinches my thigh. I don't care. We can't go home until I know I can leave Ken in good hands.
Yeah, you're right. Holy fuck. Let's keep going. We're almost there.
Without another word, we continue along the road. I sigh in satisfaction as we gain speed and the road underneath us becomes as smooth as butter. The world around us blurs and I find myself zoning. This must be the only way Ken can escape those memories. My attention refocuses as we slow down, pulling onto a dirt road that leads into a thicket. Huh? Where are we now?
It's still too early to head to docks, so I figured we should lay low somewhere nobody will think to look.
That place being the middle of nowhere.
To you, maybe. But to me and Johnny.
We stop before a crude-looking shack made of rusted scrap metal and sharpened branches. A rubber tire serves as the only entrance, the word welcome written on it in faded orange paint. Oh, that's cute, though. A little high school fort. Maybe even younger. I guess people didn't do that when they were in high school. It's more of like a middle school thing, right?
This was our whole world.
Oh, is this a secret fort?
Good eye, Past. Me and Johnny put it together one summer. Used all the tricks we'd learned as scouts, and some scrap we might have borrowed.
He flipped down the kickstand and turned off the bike, making a beeline for the entrance.
Can you fit through there?
Oh, sorry. Can you fit through there?
What do you mean? I haven't grown that much since...
He cuts himself off with a grunge as he struggles to even get shoulders through a hobbit-sized doorway.
Alright. Maybe it's been a while since I last tried.
Surely there's another way in. I jump as he kicks the tire aside, a tiny piece of my childhood dying as it rolls lifelessly into the woods behind us. That works. Shall we? Ken sneers as he gestures towards the crude entrance, bowing like a matron? I don't know that word.
Welcome to the shit shack.
Wow, that must be that might have seemed spicy for a 10-year-old.
You have no idea.
My back pops painfully as there's a bunch of pillows. I feel like these pillows would not be good to sit on anymore. Like, as if it was a wee child, it would be dirty as shit, right? Just out in the, like, water would be getting in, right? Or something. My back pops painfully as I bend over and dive into a surprisingly comfortable pile of pillows and cushions. Jean's next to follow, grunting as his own aged body contorts to fit a child's idea of good interior design. Ken's last, grabbing a curtain that's been rigged to a pulley to cover the hole. The place is dimly lit, sunlight pouring through gaps in the laced branches that act as a roof.
We practically spent every summer here until high school. It was the only place us freaks could get a little peace of mind.
It's certainly more thought out than the ones I made as a kid. What's the boxy thing? Oh, what's that boxy thing?
Alright.
He grabs a black box with a silver dial, blowing off sheets of dust.
It's a portable radio. Got it a few years ago, so I could tap into the police's comms frequencies.
A few years ago? So you were...
Yeah, hiding out here for a while.
He shoves his arms behind a cushion, fishing blindly until he pulls out some ancient-looking magazines.
Good to know these old playbirds are still here. Wasn't much else to do in a place like this.
Me and Jean gag and stand up at the same time, imagining every inch of this place covered in dried panther semen.
Ugh, Wheaties. As if you're any better.
I may be loose, but even I know better than to desecrate my childhood fort with that.
You mean you and your buds never? Actually, never mind. I ain't gonna snitch on Johnny.
Oh. I snort, and Ken punches us both in the shoulder, albeit with less force than he used to. Oh, okay.
Anyways, don't get too comfortable. We'll be moving again at sundown.
He slips through the curtain and rummages through his bike's storage, returning with some sandwiches wrapped in something clear and shiny.
Here, eat up. We're gonna need to conserve energy. I got 2 ham sammies and a turkey club. Who wants what?
Turkey Club. So, what is this plan exactly? Okay. Turkey Club. Yes, do explain the plan to us thoroughly.
You both said club.
Elder's privilege. I should have priority here. I picked first, so. First is, as the saying goes, the worst. What? How childish! Goodness, it must be this hideaway I find myself resorting to childish tactics. So you should eat first because you're the oldest, but you're also acting the... Oh, we look over at Ken, who's already started eating the club sandwich.
What? Now there's no reason to argue.
We sulk as he tosses us the other 2 sandwiches. Oh, leave it to him to be the most irrational one in the group.
So, here's what I'm thinking it should all go down. Doc's house doubles as his office. Even if he's retired, all of the documents from when I was his patient should still be there somewhere. Not to mention the tapes.
He shudders, shaking it off and continuing on.
So obviously, we need to find those if we're going to prove my innocence.
I hate to interrupt, but what's the correlation between your crime and this doctor's fellow's record? He looks at the side, taking an angry bite from his sandwich.
I don't want to talk about it right now. I'll get too pissed off.
Ken, I told you. We need to know the whole story if we're going to...
Not right now, okay?
His voice is deafening in this stifling little room. Oh. Jesus. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. It's just... I know it'll piss me off, and I need to save the rage for when it counts the most.
I look down to see the pillow he's been holding is riddled with chew marks.
So obviously it'd be easier to break in during the day while they're out of the house, but that means we'd risk being spotted by the neighbors. Plus, I want him to be there. I need to get some answers out of him.
Okay, where do we come in? He grins devilishly.
Jean, you're gonna dress up as,
Babette? Babette? Okay.
You'll ring the doorbell. Make up some story about your car breaking down. Doesn't matter.
All right, that was their other identity name, right? I don't remember. Look, it's been like a year since I've played Ken's route. I have forgotten a lot.
Yeah, just need to keep them distracted long enough for Gray and I to break in through the basement.
I gulp. I had a feeling it would come to this, but... And then?
We sneak up behind them and ambush them. I'll keep the gun trained on Doc while you tie him up with this.
He tosses a neatly tied section of climbing rope onto my lap.
I'll show you how to tie a knot that they can't break out of. I practiced it plenty of times in the Scouts. It can only be undone by another person.
You said ambush them. You mean Doc, right? You mean Doc and...
Yeah, his wife too.
Are you mad? Getting your revenge on him is one thing, but asking me to assault an innocent woman is too much. His eyes narrow.
Innocent woman.
I shriek back as he suddenly looms over me.
Gray! She married him! She has to know what he's done!
I still don't even know what he's done. How can you be so sure? I have to say, this does sound rather villainous.
Yeah.
He breathes out through his nose and falls back into a sitting position, arms crossed.
Let me put it this way. If we just get Doc, she runs screaming for help. Then the whole neighborhood wakes up. Frank gets called and we get turned into Swiss cheese.
He mimes firing a gun at us and we cringe.
Making sure she's immobilized is for her own safety. I'm not gonna touch her, I promise.
Still, the whole thing makes me feel sick. Even if I know we're not going to hurt her, she won't know. And she'll be scared out of her mind. Can't you empathize with that?
I can't. She's either married to a monster and knows, or she's oblivious and about to find out the hard way. Regardless, she's part of the problem.
His logic is cold, almost robotic. Whatever this man did to him runs deep.
Gray, tell me right now if you're game for this. I can't have you freezing up. You need to be on it. Understand?
Fine. I'll do it. But please, once we have them subdued, let me take her aside so I can explain everything. If Doc's as evil as you say, there's no reason to keep her in the dark.
It's fine by me. Do whatever you want with her. Just don't leave any marks.
Jesus, boy, do you hear yourself?
Listen, I've spent a year mentally preparing myself for this. I've gone over every possibility, every concern, every moral quandary there is, over and over again. I've lived with this for the past 3 years. I've tried this multiple times, only to fail because I wasn't ruthless enough.
That's right. The loop. I'd almost forgotten that he's likely tried similar tactics in the past, only to wind up right where he started. That sort of thing would drive me mad too. So, you're saying this is the only thing that you haven't tried?
Exactly. Becoming the villain they've painted me out to be and going to the source.
This is all flying over my head, but I swear, if any harm comes to that woman, you'll have a new enemy on your tail. He clicks the gun on Lucy's hip. Yeah, hilt, not hip. Hilt. And not breaking eye contact with Ken. Well, what will it be? To our surprise, he bursts out laughing. It doesn't replace the tension in the air, instead weighing down on us even harder. Okay, everyone. I'm going to end the part here, so I hope you've all enjoyed, and I'll see you guys around.